Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever been in a room where nothing changed? No opportunities, no connections, no growth. Now, let me flip it. What if one conversation could change your income? Because the truth is, your network is your net worth. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. How you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah, doing well.
Good, good.
Watch
So
yourself, man.
I'm doing good. So we got a great conversation that we're going to have tonight. So we got Stacy in real estate development. We got Amanda and Cody, real estate agents. And Amanda, I know that you're trying to start helping some younger or less senior real estate agents with mentoring. So this is going to be a good conversation, guys. So we have all the pieces right here. You find them, Stacy builds them, and you help people to do it, Amanda, as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let me turn this do not disturb on because I don't want that dinging to keep happening.
I gotta do the same, man. Don't even worry about it.
So one of the things I want to talk about is people lack opportunity, not really exposure. And what I mean by that is the opportunity could be right in front of you, but if you don't know the person, then how can you grasp it? And that really just comes from talking and networking, in my opinion. So the first question is, what's the difference between a room that wastes your time and one that creates opportunity? Amanda, I'll let you go first.
Yes, I really think that there's opportunity everywhere. So it's up to you whether or not you allow the room to waste your time. Um, you don't just want to show up. You want to, if you're around people, there's an opportunity to collaborate, and you never know who you might be in the room with. So you don't know what if the opportunity exists or not. So that's really like you have to be intentional no matter what room you're in. And if you don't see it going anywhere, then you need to separate yourself.
And Amanda, you've been a real estate agent for how long now?
Almost 8 years. Next month will be
Almost
8 years.
almost 8 years. And
Mhm.
Cody, I know you're kind of new to the game, but you are seasoned as a real estate agent. So I'm gonna ask you the same question. So what's the difference between a room that wastes your time and one that creates opportunity for you? I know Amanda's insights may be a little different because she's been in the game longer, but when you go in the room, what how do you answer that question?
Um, kind of to piggyback off of what she said, in every room there's somebody who knows something or somebody or some service or something that you may be doing or need. It's really just about networking with people, holding conversations. They don't have to be long conversations, but just introduce yourself. You don't have to necessarily say what you do, and just kind of fill out and see who you meet. Like you said, one conversation can change your whole life. um so I feel like for a room, I feel like no room is a complete waste. You can always learn something in a room or a connection with somebody that'll lead for something down the road. So I don't feel like any room is a complete waste.
Got you. So what you both are saying is you choose to waste your time, not the room.
Correct. And not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna go to Stacy since he's in a different lane in real estate, which is similar but is different. So when you go into a room, Stacy, or you're picking a place to go to, how do you strategically plan to go there, and how do you stop yourself from wasting time?
I think well I know it's being intentional is literally knowing when I go to these places, when I take up these spaces, I'm here with an intent. It doesn't have to be a strict intent, but it has to be beyond transactional. So that's the other pieces is getting away from being transactional and actually forming genuine relationships while in any space. Because you never know. Today somebody might not be capable of helping you or pointing you in the right direction, but a year, 2, 3 years later, the roles could completely flip. And because you develop those relationships with certain people, you just never know how those dots get connected. So it's being intentional and steering away from being transactional and focus on building genuine relationships if you find value in that person's presence, you know?
Yeah. And I wish I had my friend Kurt on. He's a videographer and he has a marketing company and he works with real estate agents and investors and startups and all these other people. But he said sometimes he'll talk to someone for 5 years and then later they'll come to him and ask, "Oh, I need some work done," or tell him I need some work done, and then they'll pay him $50,000 to $60,000 to do a project. But those type of things compound when you are in rooms or are in spaces where you are showing people that you're a good person and you're not just out for their money. Because what we like to do is deliver value to people, whether that's a great home. Everyone knows on this call what happened with my home, but whether it's delivering a great home, a great experience, or just being there for someone to talk to, because sometimes people just need you to listen and then you could deliver a solution. A lot of people in sales don't really understand that you're not trying to sell or push something in front of someone that they don't want. That's the worst thing that you could do. So if you hear them out and then you can align with, okay, I can help this person, or you may not be able to help that person. But I don't think that you should take anyone's money just because you're trying to get money. If you can't help the person, don't say that you can help the person, right? So I think that goes hand in hand with opportunity and being in the right spaces.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, one of my
Now,
mottos is serve, don't sell, because you get a lot further just understanding, really we're problem solvers. We just so happen to make money along the way. And like you said, if you can't do that, then you're in the wrong space.
yeah, and like a problem solvers, that's a great way to put it because you are solving a problem. I know a lot of real estate agents may not look at it that way that haven't been in the game as long as you have, Amanda. But really, someone is looking for a house. That's the problem that they're trying to solve. They want the right house because they're going to most likely, unless you're an investor, you're going to live there for a long time. So, and now if you are an investor and you're working with an investor from the real estate agent in, then you want that investor to be happy with what you're handing them and not be upset because you don't want to tarnish relationships either.
Yep, for sure.
Yep, yep. And that goes back to that transactional piece. I've been amongst people who they treat transactions, real estate, personal, as just a transaction. However, I kind of learned something early on about making a deal is if neither person leaves, and this is, willing and dealing in real estate, if neither person leaves 100% satisfied, that was a good deal. If one person leaves and one person leaves mad, the other person leaves aesthetic, that means somebody got. So it's understanding how to build relationships through those transactions, so nobody feels as if it's like, oh man, I just got sold something. I didn't even want it.
I will say that sometimes that could be how you're wasting time in a space. Because if you establish a relationship, a good relationship that's not transactional,
Mhm.
then word of mouth is going to bring you more business and better relationships. Like you're going to have to work 10 times harder if after the end of the sale, you have to go find somebody else. But if you've built a good relationship, if you provide good service, if you did good work for that person, then they're going to be your raving fans and you don't have to work as hard. They're going to help promote you.
Absolutely.
So you've wasted your own time. Like I don't work with people for a long time. I took any business that came to me and I stopped doing that because if you don't like me in the beginning, the longer the transaction goes on, the longer the relationship, we're just going to continue butting heads. And at the end of the deal, are you going to leave me a 5-star review? No. Are you going to tell your friends and family to come work with me? No. So I just wasted my time. And yeah, I made a few dollars, but I could have spent the same amount of time investing in somebody that does like me, that does appreciate me, that does value me. And so I will say that you can waste your time doing that by not surrounding yourself with the right people and not walking away at the right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and compound. Everything compounds, right?
For
So
sure.
that time wasted, it compounds. And I was talking to you and Cody about this, Amanda.
Mhm.
Compounding efforts, compounding time, it could end up being bottlenecks. So that's what I teach. I coach teams, businesses, projects, like whatever it is. If you compound wasted time, then after that transaction, that's what we're saying, then all that time wasted, no, that person is not going to go tell anyone else about you. So the person that you want to work with is the person that likes you, that understands that you are helping them and has a good experience. So now they're going to go tell someone else while you're working with your next client. And then right after that client is done or you close that client, then, hey, such and such, John told me about you, said that you were great. Now it just is a trickle down effect, like you spoke on, Amanda.
Mhm.
So let's get to the next question. I want each of you to share a moment where being in the right room changed something for you.
I'll start with that. Want me to lead with that?
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'll give you this 10 years ago. And this is about when I very first actually got into the real estate investing side of things. I went to a real estate local meeting here. I'm not going to plug them in, but I went to a local meeting here, and it was I felt so small in that room because they were literally, it was like an auction. They were standing up, they were selling private notes, they were offering up deals, and they were offering up transaction, real estate deals, between private lending options, private mortgage, like literally selling notes to each other. Hey, I have this note, take second position. I felt completely out of place, but what it did was it made me level up, and I said, you know what? I got to learn what I'm trying to do. I need to really dig into what I'm trying to do because I just walked in a room full of sharks and I felt like Nemo. you know? So at the end of the day, like being in that room full of people who they were years ahead of me, and in terms of experience, it really made me switch how I was moving and what I was trying to do. So instead of me just focusing on making money, it made me focus on learning the actual real estate development, the real estate investing game, and that changed everything about how I moved from then on.
Go ahead, Amanda.
That's good. So I have a lot of experiences, but I'll say that I enjoy going to real estate conferences, and I always get excited when you know I see, Eric Thomas is going to be there and Milette's going to be there. And being around those people has been great. I've also met Brendan Burchard. But what I learned, not just being in those rooms and having that energy, it's not only the guest speaker, the highlight, it's all the people that you meet in the meantime that give you nuggets to help you grow, people that you don't think of. My pastor always says that nobody knows everything, but everybody knows something. So if you take the time to talk to people, you can learn the something. So it was really exciting to be around and just celebrate wins. Like there's things that I've done that other people haven't done, and like, oh, that's so cool. Like they didn't realize that I've had experience in short sales or foreclosures or whatever, like things to me that I don't really think are big deals, but I don't realize the impact I have on other people's lives, and vice versa. They don't realize their little nuggets that they've shared with me and how they've impacted my business personally and professionally.
I got something to add to that, but I'm gonna let Cody go first.
Yeah, I mean, being in a room, when you get in a room too, when you in a room with other winners or people who are doing things that you are looking to do, as she was saying, it really motivates you, to see other people like, man, they did this, I can do it too. And they're really, they don't mind, sharing some of the stuff of how they got there and what they're doing to get there with, to help you get to the next level. And one of the key things in those rooms is they always said that, they had help. Everybody wants to do everything by themselves or think that they can do it by themselves. Sometimes I'm guilty of that as well. But sometimes you just need help. Like you need other people to help you, and guide you to where you're trying to go. And just being in a room with other people and like-minded people, they will help guide you to the next level of where you're supposed to get to, and what you have going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The room aspect and people that can help you, that's big, right? I'm all for connecting people and connecting dots and making sure everyone has the information, knows this person. If you know me, I'm going to connect you with somebody that's doing something that you're doing all the time, right? And I think a big fault to, I'm not going to say black people, but I could say our people, right? They want ownership, 100% ownership of everything that they do.
Nothing.
And I was about to say that. What's 100% of nothing?
Nothing.
Times is nothing. So they think that you're going to get over on that you're getting more than me. So how can I do that? Like, why do I, it's always a competition. When really, if you're in the same room with others, you should be learning everything from them that they know. And you should be teaching, giving back, because we're not put here just to be isolated and withhold information. I tell anybody, how to do things, but it's the commitment. Money is just a commitment. It's not real. Like everyone needs money, but when you're doing business, if you both are paying for something or you're paying with time, like Stacy says, time, like you're always paying with something. You're not just doing anything for free. So you could be paying with time, you could be paying with money, you could be paying with effort. But if you see that, that's who you're going to want to work with. And guest speakers in rooms, that attract people. But really, if you're not going to talk to the guest speaker, then it is the people that are in that room that you need to network with and learn from. On breaks, go talk to them. Hey, man, I heard you say this. But you have to have the confidence in yourself to stand up, speak, shake hands, present yourself well, and not go immediately trying to sell something, because I'm like, whoa, that's going to go, hey, I know what he wants. And that just gives a bad taste, put a bad taste out of his mouth. So I'm going to read this because I saw this today about Jay-Z. And, I'm a Jay-Z fan. So he says, Jay-Z admits progress will not always lie in full ownership. It's black owned if you own 1% of it. And he talked about owning 0.000 something percent of the Brooklyn Nets. He was like, I'm an NBA owner. But it's just the same way in the stock market too. Like when you invest in the stock market, you're not buying the company, you're buying a piece of the company, you're holding it. And then when you sell it, you're making your return. If everyone thought about things like that, you'll get so much further. And I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
You're right, though. You're right, though. You're absolutely right.
But just like random things, like we met people on a cruise, just talking to people, and outside of business, like they work for Disney. Like, hey, if you want to bring your kids to Disney, we'll give you a ticket. It just came from talking to somebody that opened a door for us. No, not necessarily making us money, but saving us money. But you never know who, if Cody didn't start that conversation by the pool or wherever he met, like we wouldn't have had that opportunity. So it's important to talk to people wherever you go.
And be good to people. Being good to people really is your superpower. Have you ever seen someone walking around and they just look mad all the time, or they're not approachable, and you're like, oh, I'm going to stay away from that person. And they're the ones that are always complaining about, oh, nobody does anything for me. I can't do this. I can't do that. Like, why does this person get that opportunity? Because they smile. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
You're approachable,
Yeah. So let me get to the next question. So Cody, I'm gonna lead off with you. Okay. What should people look for before they even walk in a room?
So, and I'll give it to you from my standpoint when I walk into a room of people, because Amanda can tell you, I find somebody to talk to in some room and I start conversation. That's just what I do. I'm really good at networking. You know, it's two sides to it, and I give you a recent event that we went to. We went to like a builders event recent, like during Christmas or whatever, and there was one guy in the room that I met. He was just standing there by himself. He didn't know anybody. He happened to be in a very popular field that's much needed, and you know, I told him, hey, you know, you might want to just kind of. I introduced myself. You know, I told him, you know, I did real estate, and he told me he was an electrician. And you know, we talked for a little while. I got a card, and you know, I told him like electricians right now are in, you know, high demand. Like, you know, you should really, you know, talk to people. But I could tell that just wasn't his strong suit. You know, I did attempt to introduce him to somebody, but he just wasn't, you know, very talkative. I try to talk to the people who don't necessarily like, he looked approachable, but he, you know, just kind of, I don't really know anybody here, just to try to see if I can, you know, get them into the room, get talk. And I never know what they're gonna do or like what they do. So I talk to anybody. And then, you know, there's also the group of people where there's just like people, you know, laughing and talking, and you know, you just kind of walk up, you know, introduce yourself, and I just, you know, kind of listen and chime in with the conversation. I look for people, you know, obviously smiling and having a good time, and you know, just kind of catching what they're talking about, and you know, see if I can contribute. And if not, you just kind of listen and, you know, wait for your time to, you know, at least speak or say, hey, I'm such and such. You don't even have to say what you do, but just introducing yourself to somebody in a room. You never know, you know, where that leads to down the line.
Yeah, and I know you, Cody. So you'll talk to me. Oh boy, you always been like that from kindergarten. Boy, I say Cody talked to anyone. I haven't always been like that. So I know that from that story you just told, I used to be like that. And because everyone knows, like, only thing I did was pick up a basketball, and I let my actions talk for me. I was not a speaker. So when I got out of basketball, I had to get uncomfortable, be okay with being uncomfortable so I can speak to people. And that was not an easy thing to do. And I'm not going to sit here and make it sound like, oh, you could just go up and talk to anybody, or, you know, because you're thinking about what you're saying too much most of the time. You're like, oh, I don't know if I should say this. But really just be yourself. And once you're yourself, the right people will gravitate to you. And I think that's a special talent that you have, Cody. Like, you just start talking, people just gravitate to what you're talking about. Like, oh, this is just a nice guy. Like, I just want to keep talking to him. Stacey, like, you got something to say. You're a talker too. I don't know if you always been like that.
Honestly, I haven't, and I had to learn just to get very uncomfortable. When I walk in the rooms, the anxiety be boiling up inside of me, and I've learned just to, hey, just look at everybody in the room and say, no matter where they're at in life, they're just a human. Some have a lot of money, some have none. Where I fall at, I don't know. I don't really care. I'm just gonna come and be myself. I'm gonna be humble. I'm gonna let them know I don't know everything. If it's somebody who knows more than me, I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna listen. If it's somebody who's pulling information out of me, I'm gonna give them what I got, and I'm gonna just let them look. This is my experience. This is what I know. I don't know everything, and I can't tell you that this is the absolute truth, but it's what I know. So, you know, just get, like you said it. You said be uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable and be okay with your truth where you're at when you're talking to people. So that's been my secret is, hey, this is who I am, this is what I do. Can't speak for anybody else, but this has been my experience.
And before Amanda chimes in, I want to say something. If you don't know anything, don't say anything. Because what you don't want to do is start talking about stuff you have no idea what you're talking about. And I say that with jokes, but like when Stacy and Brandy are on this call and they're talking about something, I just sit there and listen. And then I ask a lot of questions, even if it's a stupid question. It may be stupid to I know it's not stupid to them, so I'm not going to put them in it. But people are like, why are you asking that stupid question? Because I ain't in that field. Yeah, so I could, you know, like when I start speaking and people ask me questions, I'm never looking at them like, why are you asking me this stupid question? because everybody doesn't know what I am trained to do or what I do. So I can expect that. But if you don't know, don't say. That's what I'm
Don't-
That's
conversation ain't the place to fake it till you make it. That's just not it.
no.
Yeah.
all right, man, I'm gonna let you go. You got anything to chime in on the topic?
So I am a very introverted person. I am bubbly in my circle. Like I have a twin brother and a little brother, and we grew up together, and we are each other's rocks. I went to the same school from second grade until I graduated high school, and so that was my bubble. And I was, kind of like you in the basketball. Like I was cheerleading captain, dance captain, all the things on student government, 4-H vice president, all those kind of things in my circle. And then I went to college and I was nobody and I didn't talk to anybody and I stared at the ground. And so now I guess for me, like when I walk into a room, I just want to make sure that I am approachable. I want to make sure that I am smiling. I want to make sure that my posture is inviting. Because I'm not afraid to have a conversation and I'm not stuck up by any means. I just don't speak unless spoken to because I get nervous. And then if I make myself a part of the circle, it just naturally comes, they'll ask me a question and I can continue the conversation. I just am not always the first person to initiate it. So I'm also working on, being uncomfortable. It's a process. I think I'm coming around a little bit, but yeah, just your posture being inviting, smile, be in the right place at the right time, and you still have opportunity to talk to people.
Yeah, so you and Cody level each other out.
Yep. And he knows my strong suits at this point too, so he'll initiate the conversation. And then he's like, "I don't know." When he gets to that part he don't know, he's like, "Talk to my wife."
I don't mind saying I don't know either. I do not know the answer to that question, but I'm sure my wife can get an answer for you.
Let me make sure my mic is okay. There you go. I heard a little echo, but yeah, so that's great. The next question I have is, why do people go to events and leave with nothing? No opportunities, no new relationships. They just leave with nothing. Like, why is that?
Go ahead.
My personal opinion would be that they either went with the wrong intentions or they stayed in their comfort zone to where they didn't do anything to for the prime example of what I just said. If you left with nothing, that I feel like that was on you because there was something to be found there in the room somewhere amongst somebody. So, but if you go there and you say nothing to nobody, you don't, even at the very least, you don't, introduce yourself to, if you just stand there the whole time to whatever you go to and then you leave and you left with nothing, that was because you stayed in your comfort zone. You didn't get uncomfortable or you didn't make any progress towards a goal. Like when Stacy said earlier, he goes somewhere with intent. You have to have some kind of purpose or what you went there for. And if you don't, basically do anything to make that come like what your purpose was, then you left there with nothing.
Yeah, I think that's good. And what I'll add is, for me, because I am shy, is I have to gamify everything. I have to make it a game. Like, okay, I'm going to go to this event and I'm going to talk to 3 people before I leave. Like, that's going to be what I need to get done before I've got to pick up something. I don't know what exactly I'm going to pick up, whether it's, I need to find a referral partner in another state, or I need to learn about X, whatever. But if I just give my task something to complete, then I can see that through. But I agree that if you don't get anything out of an event, it's because you just came to spectate. And I think that you can still get something out of spectating, but I agree that it's your fault. Like, If I went back home, another situation, we were out, I saw somebody with, we work with EXP, we're partnered with EXP Realty. I saw somebody with an EXP cup, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm EXP too." And she gave me a nugget to help me. Like we get stock awards if we meet production goals. And she's like, "Hey, have you done this?" No, I haven't. Well, if you do that, it'll be a lot easier for you to get your $16,000 stock award. And I'm like, girl. So we've been working on it. It's been working like gold. But had I not been brave enough to just say something, anything, then I wouldn't, I would have learned something. And we were on vacation. I wasn't trying to work. I had my phone on do not disturb. I didn't get the internet package. I was really focused on not working, but I saw opportunity, and I, even though I'm shy, made it a point to speak to this person, and she has put something in my lap that has made me money already and will get me closer to my stock award in the next month or two.
That's nice. They both hit it dead on the nail on the head. It's the intention. It's showing up with some form of intention, and then a big one that we kind of touched on earlier was uh, trying to withhold gatekeep information. Sometimes we go to these events. I see this in the real estate world often. I see it in the business world in general. But we go to quote unquote networking events, and everybody think they have this great mind blowing idea or strategy that they're going to protect it from the next investor or the next person. Well, sometimes those conversations lead to collaboration, and you're missing out on your opportunity by trying to sit on this information. And let's say it's not necessarily that you're gatekeeping. It can be a matter of you're an introvert or you have that anxiety issue. So it's just not being willing to open up and express exactly what you have going on. And I'll be honest, I've been guilty of that in the past. I've been in rooms and it wasn't necessarily the gatekeeping aspect. It was like, oh man, I didn't have the confidence to speak on what I was actually doing. And when I finally did, or as I finally got more comfortable in speaking on those things, people are like, wow, that's a great idea. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't necessarily know it was a great idea. I felt it. I knew it, but I didn't think it would be received in that manner. So it's, again, sometimes you just have to put yourself out there, expose what you have going on, expose your weaknesses, and be willing to see where it takes you. So you got to be intentional.
So intention, purpose, and driven. That's what I picked up from everything that you guys have already said.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that is, life works the same. And I'm a strong advocate of, like, nothing is different about the way life works. It is a big circle. Just, if you think that you're the first one to experience something bad when you're trying to do something good, you're wrong. Like, you are wrong. It is someone out there that has either went through what you're going through or about to go through what you have been through. And that is why you have to talk to people. You can help someone can help you. And I look at the world as people that just don't have purpose or don't have a reason behind what they do. They're just wondering. It's like when you get in your car and say, I'm going to drive from North Carolina to California, and never pull your phone out to pull up a map. Your purpose is you have your purpose of whatever reason you're going to California. But if you don't have a way to get there, then you're just going to be wondering. You're going to get lost. You're never going to pull your phone out. You're never going to pull a map out. Back in the day, I think we're all on this call used to have map quests, and we print those out, and you looking and you miss your turn. You're like, oh man, this don't look like it's supposed to, like that's what we used to do. But you have to have a roadmap. And that's why I say, whenever I'm doing something, I say, let's build a roadmap. Let's execute off that roadmap. So like Amanda says, I have to play the game. Life is a game that you got to play. People that don't risk certain things, they play it safe. They're like in a bubble. They're not ever going to go any further than that bubble will take them. But people that play the game, if you take more shots, you're going to have more points. Mm-hmm. If you run the ball more times, you're going to have more yards. If you swing, I don't care if you strike out 20 times, you're going to learn how to hit that ball So you gotta play the game and play the game with purpose and intention. Everyone's trying to win, so you gotta put your energy towards things like that. And I don't want to keep drifting off and preaching to the choir or anything like that, but I get very passionate about stuff like that. Oh, all right. Now, if someone walked into a room for the first time, how should they approach people?
I'll lead with that one. Genuinely, genuine, be who you are. Don't approach anyone as if you're bigger than life, or don't, just be who you are. And the ones who are meant to be a part of what you have going on, they'll migrate towards you. And if not, then that's not your people. But as you approach people with who you are, again, you have to be intentional. You have to be clear. You have to be able to say what you do, and especially in these networking events, because let's be honest, we're all there for a reason. We're all there for a reason. It might not necessarily be 100% transactional. The goal is to network and meet people who are like-minded, or even think different. Like, I love meeting people who think different about real estate, but the goal is to leave there with something of value. So, it's just showing up as you, who you are, and taking value from this person, that person, and hopefully, that room changes something, changes how you think, or changes in the future your circle of just exposure. But it's really just being who you are. You got to be who you are. If you show up fake, you're not gonna get anything from it.
Gotcha. I don't know if I changed. Hold on. Let me make sure this camera right because I just hit something. But anyone could go next. I just want to
Yeah,
make sure.
for me, I'm not, like I said, I'm not always the best talker, but I'm a great listener. So people love to talk about themselves. And so whenever I'm in a room, that's how I approach people. Ask them questions. What's your name? What do you do? What are you working on right now? Because people love to talk about themselves, and that makes it easy. And then again, like that kind of has the conversation to come up so that you'll see what their value is, and then if and when your opportunity arises, then it comes out. But I like to listen to people. I like to learn about people. That's very interesting to me. And so when I'm in a room with new people, that's what I find helps me, is to let them talk about themselves because that's their favorite person to talk about anyway.
I agree. I agree with that. Cody, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, he said it first, being genuine. Like, people really enjoy meeting the genuine person that you are. And if they don't, like you said, then it's not meant to be. But when you come with genuine intentions, you just have a much better experience as far as relationships with people. And, you don't have to put on a mask if you're genuinely yourself. Like, you go to the event and, you put this mask on that you're this person. And then, when these people actually get to know you and realize that you're not, I mean, it's not going to help you accomplish your goal of what you're trying to do. So, like, just being genuine. And like she said, listening. She's taught me that from start, because as we've already said earlier in the call, I talk a lot, but sometimes you gotta listen, and you just gotta pick out when those times are, that you gotta sit back and listen.
Yeah, I can agree with all of you. Um, I really don't have too much to add to that. I know I don't want to run out of time. I got a lot of stuff that I want to cover, but but you guys are right on the money. Now, what can someone do to stand out when they go in a room? Ah,
Ooh.
I'll give you something that I got this from a mentor, and he's not even in real estate. He runs a 501c3, and we was talking about some other things, and he said, "Man, listen, you should never go in a room without knowing who else is going to be in that room." So that's something, if possible, you should try to understand. Okay, who's going to be a part of this no, I don't want to call it a mix, or this networking event, and if you can, just, hey, be able to not, I don't like to say relate to what they have going on, but have some questions for them. Like they said earlier, people love to talk about themselves. I want to hear all about you. You know, being able to pull those questions out, and silence. Sometimes just silence is a great way to stand out. Just be quiet and listen, and you'll stand out when nobody's heard anything about you all night.
Yep, I was gonna piggyback kind of off my same last point is, yeah, that makes you different because a lot of people will go, especially agents. You know, Cody does a lot of cold calling. The person on the other end, especially when you're cold calling, you don't know who's on the other. They don't care about you. They don't care. You're the 5th or 10th or 100th real estate agent that's called them and told them the same thing. And I sell all these houses and I do blah, 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 blah. They don't care about none of that stuff. They want to know what you can do for them. So if you're asking questions about them and learning about them, that makes you different because at the end of the day, they only want to talk about themselves. I want to know how you can help them, but they don't necessarily care about you. At least not yet. They might care about you later, but the initial conversation, you got to get there. So that's what I think. I'd agree with Stacy that sets you apart by being genuine, by wanting to learn about them and not just trying to, I don't know, be braggadocious about yourself and what you have going on.
Cody, you got anything before I go?
No, I don't have anything for that one.
So I'm gonna put my coach hat on right now. So to stand out, let's think about it like this. If we're all going in a room and someone has seen me 100 times already, online, on flyers, on this, on that, I don't have to do much to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you build your brand up online or you've been going to a lot of events, even if you could get on stage, then you stand out immediately. But the problem is people don't want, they say, oh, it's like the old man. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not throwing shots at Stacy.
I wasn't gonna say that. I'll go wait till afterwards.
Well, I'm not doing that online stuff. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. But it's needed. And we have to adapt to times. So when you walk in the room, like, oh, didn't I see you on Investment Talk? I think that's what it's called. Even if they're like, oh, I won't even get offended if they're like, I think I saw you on something. Like if they don't know, but they recognize your face,
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna start a conversation immediately. Rather than, and then you know what else that does with cold calling? They're like, hey, I'm Cody Fulford. I love what you said the other day on that podcast or whatever you were on. I love that. How can I help you, Cody? And now they already feel like they have a relationship with you. You're like, oh yeah, and then you could ask them, well, what did you like about it? Man, I really want to know more about you. You know a little about me, so now let me talk to you about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easy. Now you have the relationship. Now what emotion? Now it's logical
Mm-hmm.
for them to let you help them because they feel like they know you. But imagine somebody just coming up to you in the mall. You don't know them from a liquor, what they call it, a liquor pate. I don't know why people say that. But and they say, hey man, you want to buy this? You're like, whoa, bro, get out my face. Like, where did you steal that from? That's what you're gonna automatically think. Where did you steal this from? Because you're just walking up to me asking me to buy something from you. And what they used to do in California when I was in San Diego, they used to have these women standing outside of jewelry stores. See, they didn't even look like they worked there. You walk by, and then hey, and then you act like they're going to talk to you, and they're like, hey, come in here. And then now they're trying to sell something to you. So it's playing with your emotion, your like all of those things. Like it just doesn't make sense. But if someone trusts you, most likely they're gonna buy from you. I heard someone say people don't buy things, they buy from people. So if a person knows you, he's more likely to buy from you versus someone that they don't know. So that's a little gem. Put my coach hat back up so I can get my host hat.
I love it. That's so good though. Like and I can tell that we are building out that brand here. Like I went to pick up my prescription at the pharmacy. They're like, "You're the real estate people." He went to order a pizza and in downtown Washington, and somebody approached him. You and your wife, y'all sell real estate, don't you? He's like, yes, we do. Stacy, the first time I met you, you were like, "Oh, you're Cody's wife," and I was like, "And you are."
Because Stacy is that old man that now
I remember faces. I
She
remember
gets it a
names.
lot. Like somebody walked up to her and speaking and smiling in Walmart. She was like, "I have no clue who this is." She talked to me like she knows you. I was like, "She do. Social media. She sees you all the time on social media. She knows you."
There you go.
But I'm a strong advocate for that too. Like I want people everywhere to know Stacy. I want people from in California like that. Oh, you're the guy that does the real estate. You build, you handle, you manage assets. You have a lot of knowledge. I want people to call Stacy, like try to find your number. Like, oh, like who is this calling my phone? Answer the phone, Stacy, because people.
I've gotten better at that.
All right, so that's good. That's good stuff. Okay, let me. I told y'all I'm a little tired. My eyes starting to hurt a little bit here. So, what should someone say in the first few minutes of conversation? Cody, I'm gonna go to you. You're the talker. We all had to grow from being introverts, so you're the one that has never been an introvert. So.
Man, it really depends. It could be a lot. And when I say a lot, like go back to that conversation she said that I had on the cruise in reference to, I want to say they had something on of Steelers gear, and I'm a Ravens fan, so I said something in reference to that. I mean, it really could be different for different situations. It just depends on what you pick up from that person or what they're doing in that moment to start the conversation. It's not like you say the same thing. But I mean, obviously you would introduce yourself, but they could be a fan of a team that you're not particularly fond of. They could be eating, so they order something good and you ask them, hey, what did you order? Like, I mean, it's I don't know. I pick a lot of ways to start a conversation. But I genuinely want to know when I'm asking the question, or when I I genuinely want to know, what I started the conversation with. So it's not like I was just, that particular I didn't know what, I was just starting the conversation. They had on Steelers gear, and I was like, oh, I'm a Ravens fan, and it just went from there. That's so it's you just gotta. For me, it's a lot of things I start conversations with. But in the initial conversation, I do typically introduce myself at some point, and I do listen to, what they have going on, or the answers to my question. And then as you get to talking, we generally, some form or fashion, end up at real estate, especially if it's somebody that you may know, she might've went to school with or something like that. Even if they, not on social media or something, they'll ask you, people tend to ask me, what do you do for work? Or what do you do now? Like, what are you doing with yourself? So, it typically comes up in some form of what do you do on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna let you guys go, and then I'm gonna chime in because I have my own method.
I'm with Cody. I'm gonna read you. I'm gonna read, because every scenario is different. Everybody's gonna want, you can't talk about sports with grandma who has no concern about that. You can't talk, so it's you got to read that body language, even if that body language is off-putting. That's when you gotta, you can read something. You can make conversation with somebody who doesn't necessarily look like they want to talk, but it's got to be a little bit more subtle versus trying to be chipper. So it's really reading that from person to person, scenario to scenario. But specifically when I'm networking, I'm looking at body language, and I'm saying to myself, this person either is withholding some information or they want some information. And I'm either offer them some information or I'm gonna pull some information out of them. That's 100%. When I'm networking, I know, I could tell when somebody is withholding information, and I'm gonna get it.
So Stacy, I got a question for you. So when someone's withholding information, does it look like they constipated or like they got a bad gas?
No, the withholding information look is they're usually the quiet ones. They're very observant. They're observing, and they're kind of doing the dad's head shake. And when something very important or valuable is said, they're okay. Yep. All right. Yep. I know you see what I'm saying? So the level of conversation that they can resonate with or that excites them, I'll be like, okay, he's withholding something. Because somebody who doesn't know what's the actual the meat and potatoes of that conversation, it's not going to move them. They're just gonna it's just gonna go in one ear and out the other. Or they're gonna have that deer in the headlight look like, I don't know what that means. But when somebody understands, when them buttons get pushed, and they already have that information, and whether I know whether it's higher level information that I may not know, but I kind of know something about, then yes, I'm going to engage you because you know something, and I want to know what you know.
Got you. Amanda, you want to go? Because I got a few more questions.
So I guess to answer your question is like the things that I search for when I'm networking or when I'm talking to people. So again, initiating the conversation, it just depends. To an extent, I'm going to read the room too, or like I said, at least be open enough, smiley enough to get a response out of somebody else. But I want to know where you're from. I think a lot of it just stimulates conversation. Hey, I'm Amanda. Where are you from? Are you from around here? How long have you been here? What are you working on? And it could be professional, it could be personal, it could be both. And then I want to know what I can do to help them. And it may not be real estate related. Maybe they need prayer. Maybe they just want somebody to talk to. And I'm not going to directly say, well, it just depends. Sometimes I will, because I'm not a cold caller and I do like building relationships. My thing is lunch. I will lunch and coffee people to death. And it's brought me business. I was looking for a handyman on Facebook, and a bunch of people responded with all the handymen that they could think of. And I just started taking people out to lunch. And, it brought me business. But in that conversation, it was just like, I didn't know him at all. I jumped in his DMs. And, I was like, okay, so how's business been for you? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what can I do to help you? How can I help you? What can we do to collaborate, to work together? What's something you're really passionate about? Like, I really want to build rapport and, again, let them talk about themselves, but not, to get the pressure off of me, but because I genuinely like to help people. And if I know what mission you're on, then I can help navigate you, get you to where you want to be. And it could be, like you guys said earlier, I might not be able to help them that day, but eventually maybe I can. And that conversation led to, like, we didn't talk for a couple of months after that, but then it was like, hey, a good friend from high school is looking for a property in your town. Will you help her? Absolutely. So they bought a house with me, and then they bought some more property with me, and they're considering building multiple units on that property and expanding. So that their $10 lunch has made me a lot of money, but because I just went and had a conversation with somebody, I sat down, I asked how I could help them. In the beginning, I never even hired him to do work for me. We've done work together at this point, but that's not how it started. I just wanted to know, how can I help you? And he returned the favor. So that's when I meet people, that's what I want to know. I want to know where you're from, because if we're not working in the same market, if we're not from the same place, it could be a cultural difference that maybe I didn't consider. It could be a political difference that maybe I didn't think about. But it's still an opportunity for me to learn from somebody. And then from that, I will figure out how, if it's possible for me to help them with whatever they're dealing with personally or professionally.
Gotcha. I love it. I'll tell you what I do when I go to any event. This is what will get conversation started immediately. I don't care if they're withholding information. I don't care if they don't know anything. I'm gonna just walk up to somebody and say, "How about Trump?" No, I'm sorry.
I knew that's where he was going. I
thought he was like, fire.
We'll get a response.
MAGA. Do y'all know it's a thing called MAHA?
What's that?
No.
Make America Healthy Again. That's what I didn't know until like last week. Maha.
Now
Maha.
we know too.
Now I know.
Just go up to people and say Maha. Just say Maha. They're gonna be like,
Okay.
oh, what is that? Conversation starter. All right. Now let's talk about Greenville. I know there's an event tomorrow. Amanda, can you explain what that event is and also who needs to be there?
A little bit. So
Yeah,
it is
just
a
a little.
networking event. It's kind of exactly what we talked about. It's a room that you're going to want to be a part of. Um, it's led by me and my property management team, Fortified Dreams. So we're networking with the community as a whole because, like I said, it may not be necessarily real estate related, but it's who you know, who you meet, and what you can learn through the process. So I want to meet anybody really that's in Greenville, whether or not you have a real estate question or concern. If you are in real estate, whether you're an agent, whether you're thinking about being an agent, whether you're an investor, you want to buy property, you don't know where to start, kind of whatever your journey is, we want to be there. If you're a vendor, if you're an electrician, a plumber, anybody that's struggling with business, if you're a housekeeper, I saw one of the ladies in my Greenville mom groups, and she has a cleaning business, and she hasn't had, business has been kind of slow. Like, we want you to be there. We want you to meet people. We want you to shake hands. This entrepreneurship as a whole is all about shaking hands and kissing babies. So we want you to come. We want you to come and fellowship with us. The event will be at Pitt Street Brewing in downtown Greenville. And I don't think that I have a specific topic this week, but we will just really enjoy each other's company, see what we can learn from each other, and grow together.
So I'll go behind you.
Okay.
Real estate agents, investors, and you can stop me if I name anyone wrong. So real estate agents, investors, small business owners, entrepreneurs, veterans. I don't think you called them out, but I think veterans would benefit, especially if you're just getting out of the military. You're trying to figure out what route to go, like career-wise. You could talk to real estate agents. You could talk to business owners. You could talk to Stacy, a prior veteran. Myself, I'm a prior veteran. Deshaun, I had him on another live. He helps veterans get housing. He helps veterans get their disability. He helps veterans that have small businesses, how to get funding, grants, and all of that. So he'll be there as well. And I'm sure that Brandy said that she'll be there, and she is the home flip queen. So she flips houses. She mentors you on how to get your first flip. So there's going to be a lot of people in that space that you can talk to. So it starts at 5 o'clock, right, Amanda?
5 o'clock. Yep.
5 o'clock. So be there early. Be there before us, so you can really be in and get locked in. Stacey, you got anything to say?
Nothing to say. I'll be there. I'll be looking around. I'll be looking for those who look like they know a lot, and I'll be looking for those who look like they know a little. And in between, we shall meet. Just conversation. You never know who you can meet. Some of my best investors and partners and all that good stuff have been just out of the ordinary. So that's the goal. It's just the networking, just to grow.
Yeah. So I'll add one more thing to that. So that is one event that Amanda's hosting. Now we do have a school community that has all of that inside. You could make deals, create partnerships, give leads, collaborate, use the skills that we told you on this call, but either through text, we have different classrooms that you can learn different skills as well. And I business coach, so I'll be coaching on how to implement different systems, technology, frameworks, bringing different people in to teach as well. And Deshaun is there, Stacy is there, Brandy is there, Amanda and Cody, they're there. So if you have anything that you want to ask them, you can ask them in the school community. And adding on to that, see, this is action-packed here. So now we're getting into it. And I want to break down the wealth tour because a lot of people have been asking me, what is the wealth tour and why is it? So the wealth tour is specifically geared towards business owners, veterans, real estate agents, brokers, and accredited investors too. Why accredited investors? And everyone that I just named out, also veterans. Like, I don't know if I named it, but I want to keep saying veteran, 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 because I'm heavy veteran focused. Why is that? The reason behind creating the wealth tour is because we are not out to get just your money. We're here to help you build wealth so you can have your time back, build systems that'll give you your time back. Everyone wants to have time with their family while still bringing in revenue, while doing it with good people. So I created the wealth tour. It starts in Raleigh, then we go to Myrtle Beach, then we go to Tampa, and we end in Miami. Certain people, depending on the tier that you're under, there'll be a flight, yacht, food, private dinner, all of that in Miami. So join the school community and get your first entry into the wealth tour and being financially free and being a part of great people and groups. Anything you guys want to say? I know I said a mouthful, but I wanted to try to fit in there in under that minute because we're over.
I just want to say for tomorrow, everybody come out. Everybody in the categories they named it. Even if you're just curious to see what's going on, come introduce yourself and
don't be shy because Cuddy will talk to you.
I might.
I'll give you this one. I started out years ago and introduced a welder to real estate investing. And when I had a conversation with him yesterday, and he's a shark, man. I'm like, man, I can't even talk to you about real estate because you ready to jump on everything. So, you never know where you're at and where you can go in this real estate game.
So I'm going to say this to end. There's two things that never change in this world. Your jobs could go away. Labor can stop. Money, the way you make money could change. But two things that has never changed in this world is investing in stocks and investing in real estate.
Absolutely.
Peace.